Greetings and welcome to the Women in Fire radio show. Today we're going to be talking about social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Thank you to Fire Engineering for allowing Women in Fire to be part of their radio show series. I am Lisa Baker, the Southwest Region Trustee for Women in Fire. And today I have a really great panel of individuals. I have Fire Chief Latasha Clemens, who is the Fire Chief in Forest Park, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta. I have Deputy Chief Heather Mosdeen, who is the Deputy Chief in Fremont, California, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I have Captain Laura Lyons, who is in Des Moines, Iowa. So we're going to talk about social media, and we all have heard of social media. The good of it is that if you have a good person that runs your social media platform, such as a PIO or a designated person, it could be used effectively in the fire service. It could share real-time updates during emergencies to keep the community informed of incidences. Chief Clemens, I just saw you guys had a fire, I believe, yesterday, and they were posting on that some streets may be closed in the area due to your fire. It could promote fire safety, tips and prevention, and measures to educate the public, such as, check your smoke detectors, check your CO2 detectors. And it could highlight community events and fire department activities to get to foster engagement with the communities that you serve. And you could use visible props such as photos and videos to showcase training and operations. It also could be used, if it's used properly, to respond promptly to inquiries and comments to build trust and transparency. One of the problems with that is if you don't have a good social media individual running your social media, the comments don't get answered in an effective manner or in a timely manner, which then it does not actually build trust. And you could collaborate with local organizations to help with outreach. So we all know that it was recently August is National Night Out in many communities. And a lot of departments, if you looked on any type of social media platform such as Facebook, you saw numerous departments advertising that they were hosting National Night Outs. So that would be a part of engaging with other agencies, since police departments are heavily involved in National Night Out. So today, almost everyone has a smartphone and endless opportunities to record life in a real time, the good and the bad. Most departments have SOPs or SOGs, which are standing operating procedures or standing operating guidelines addressing social media. But does social media help or hurt your department? Many departments struggle with public relations. For those who have been in the fire service 20 or plus years, you probably heard the phrase, don't take any pictures because you'll end up in court. So once I said that, as I already mentioned, the positive is it shows the public it could also show the public the dangers of the job, such as when individuals use a helmet cam. But then that could also be a negative if the helmet cam is showing the fire in a house that the individual doesn't even know is on fire yet. It helps recruit some of the best candidates for the job. So as far as social media, we know Facebook came about in 2004. And by 2006, it was a global social media platform. LinkedIn was available in 2003. Instagram in 2010. I think one of the first probably people that heard of social media was MySpace in 2003. YouTube in 2005. And the newest and probably most dangerous one of all to the fire service is TikTok in 2016. So why I say TikTok may be one of the most dangerous for the fire service is they have TikTok challenges that have gone terribly wrong. In 2025, there's one that is encouraging kids to short circuit devices, resulting in sparks, smokes, fire, and toxic gases. But the good part of TikTok is with recruitment. The oldest millenniums are now turning 40, and most new fire recruits will come from Generation Z, who are currently 26 or younger. People of this generation are unlikely to see your department's Facebook posts about hiring and other opportunities within your city. And the percentage of Gen X using Facebook dropped from 71% in 2015 to 32% to this day. Some of us have probably heard the phrase that Facebook is for their parents. So when I said the bad of TikTok, and we all probably know we have social media policies, as I mentioned, but the bad part of TikTok is because, like I mentioned, everybody has a camera. So we now have firefighters, engineers, paramedics, male and female, posting in fire department t-shirts. If they're not in their t-shirt, some of them actually have their full uniform on with their the patch and badge. And if that's not showing, oftentimes you could see the apparatus in the background. Some of these posts does not put your department in a positive light by what they're sharing or saying. And some social media policies there might be a gray line where actually the firefighter is not violating the social media policy. So what's anyone's thoughts on this?
I'll go first, since we just had a member using TikTok to make videos while on duty. And one of the things that once it was brought to my attention, of course, you run it through the chain and get the leaders involved to try to mitigate that. But most importantly, I like to start with enlightening the members, educating the members before we do any enforcement, just to remind them, of the mission, vision, values, and the oath. And additionally, to remind them that they're held to a high professional ethical standard. And, using TikTok or any social media outlet while on duty or in uniform could possibly raise several, serious questions. Just a couple, while I'm thinking about it, what's our organization? It's built on, trust, respect, and professionalism. And posting TikTok videos in uniform can create the perception that, firefighters aren't taking their role seriously. It can their videos or can be misinterpreted by the public. It can be unprofessional, damaging of the reputation of both the firefighter and the department. So it's important that we enlighten them first and then educate them before we exercise any enforcement.
Chief, I like how you said the reputation of the individual and the fire department, with depending what is said and what is done. The general population, I mean, I don't know how many people have TikTok that are over, 30 years old. I know the younger generation, it's a huge, people spend hours on TikTok. They could show it to their parents, who now see something that's not putting your department or your agency in the best light. And you're right, there could be a lot of misinterpretation and a lot of gray area in that. But I do like how you said you need to educate the individuals first, that what they're doing is. Yeah.
Chief, I think you're right on. I mean, I think for by and large, like, the intent is good, right? The intent is to show what people are doing, or sometimes it's to be funny, but all that is to sort of rally support for firefighters. But I think you're totally right in that, like, enlightening and educating our members, not just in social media, but across the board, that anything that we do in uniform or in reference to being a firefighter is a reflection on the community and on your organization. And I mean, if you're filming TikTok videos in the fire station, now you're giving people a peek inside. Anytime you go outside of the station, you should expect to be filmed or viewed. And that could be posted on social media by someone who's not in your organization. So I think, Chief Baker, as you alluded to, like, there are so many benefits to having social media policies and being able to use it. But also, if those policies are not strict or even supervised, I mean, I can go off on a tangent here and say, like, if it's on TikTok, I'm not seeing it. So who's seeing that? And then how long does it take to get to you? And how many people have seen it before it gets to you so that you can do this education and enlightenment? So it's probably one of those things we need to add to our ever long growing list of things we need to cover in recruit school.
Chief Mosey, I totally agree with that because I know like I only have TikTok. I just got TikTok and it wasn't to look for fire department and thing. It was totally for something about WNBA All-Star game. And when I was scrolling through TikTok, I was kind of like amused at the start of some of the things I was seeing. There are so many firefighters on there, the day in the life of a firefighter. And some of them do cover up their uniforms and their patches. And there's one individual that actually says, I can't film in here, I can't do this. But when and it was educational because I don't know how many times we hear when you're at a grocery store, oh, I'm buying your groceries. And it was like they were at the grocery store and she was saying, we buy our own groceries and stuff. So that was the educational part of it and that how they cook their meals and such. But that was probably one of the ones that put that department in light and a good light, like, hey, this is what we do on a daily basis kind of thing. But then there's other ones that are, showing when they're driving down the street going to a call and such. And it's like, should your focus not be on what the call is instead of making that video? So I agree with you, Heather, Chief Mosdeen. I think we do need to add it in recruit school. But I mean, the things that we now need to add to recruit school is making these recruit schools from like probably 16 to 18 weeks to 20 to 24 weeks now, because it's just so ever evolving of the things that you need to educate the newer generation on.
Well, and Chief, you bring up a good point. Like, is this something that we really should even have to cover in recruit school, or should we be educating our kids about this in high school? Right? Like,
Yeah.
this be,
Yeah.
should this be one of those common sense things that they have before they even come into the fire service?
And it's not just, it's funny that you say that, Chief Mosey, because it's not just in the fire service. I just read
Right.
something yesterday about somebody worked at some airport in some Sephora store or some makeup store in the airport and was filming the life of an airport worker in this beauty store. And it showed her going through the security and showing her getting money out, how much, where you get the money to put into the cash and everything, right? And within like 3 hours, they came in and fired her. And then she actually posted, oh, this is now, I thought this was going to go. And then it's like the comments, it kind of intrigued me. So I started reading the comments and it was like, well, what would you expect? You're showing the TSA, you're showing where the money's kept, you're showing how much money you have. And it became like a safety issue, right? And she's like, I never thought of any of this. So I think you're right, Chief Mosey. It shouldn't be once they get to recruit school that we're educating individuals on. They should already pretty be that the workplace is a workplace and act professional.
Right. It's a segue into them, unintentionally, capturing any sensitive information or violating any patient or HIPAA policies. All that stuff can be um, detrimental to any organization and most certainly may cause, even legal or any disciplinary consequences, you know?
Yeah, it's really tough because we just have put the ability to be like an internet sensation in everyone's hands. And so
Yeah.
there's a whole group of people who are like constantly quest for that, like how many likes or how many, I don't even know what the TikTok thing is, but
I don't either.
how many followers do I have or who's watching my content? And so we've created this culture where anyone can do it. And oftentimes they're not even thinking about the consequences of what they're posting. They're just looking for the next click or like.
I agree with that 100%. I think you're right. They're just oh, if I post this, I'm going to get so many likes because I'm showing where we're actually responding to a call or I'm showing where we're actually doing this, putting out this fire and such. And it's like, you're not educating the public with any of that really. I mean, the helmet cams, and I think Chief Mosey, we were still in the same department at that time when some people were wearing the helmet cams and it was being used to like kind of show this is this fire and this is what we're doing when we go to a fire and the consequences of not doing this and the dangers of firefighting. So that in itself is a good way to use the social media when you have a helmet cam on at a fire. But as far as like showing somebody standing out there that should be like either your RIT team or something else shooting a TikTok video is, I don't know. I would not think that anyone should need to be educated that you shouldn't be doing that, but apparently I'm wrong.
It's that thing you always say, like common sense is not so common.
Right? Exactly. So then we see like we just talked about people posting that, and Chief Clemens, you kind of started out the conversation of somebody posting some TikTok stuff in your department, but then we see people that just have they're posting like their turnout gear and I'm a firefighter, and it's just like it may well okay, that's great kind of thing. So I think in that regards, it's like I don't, and I'm just gonna reiterate this, I don't think they're thinking. I think you're right, Chief Mosing, they're just looking for that next like or that next whatever it is on TikTok where they're getting these likes and people are sharing it and they're getting all these followers and such because everybody now wants to be what a content creator. So as far as recruitment, how does any department, Des Moines or Chief Clemens, Forest Park or Chief Bosdeen, Fremont, do you use social media to try to recruit people?
Both for us, both the fire department and the firefighters union have social media. And we use it for, to educate people, to inform the community. We use it for recruitment. We kind of use it for all of those things. It's a valuable tool. It really is. It gives people, some insight into the job. I would venture to guess that, like all social media, it sort of shows one side of it. It doesn't show the whole story. So we do have to make sure that our recruits know exactly what they're getting into. Because the stuff that, hits people really hard is not the stuff you're not going to show that on social media. So it is a valuable tool. We use it, but it's not. It can't be the only thing.
Yeah, we use a lot of social media, and along with social media, I mean, we have a lot of outreach programs, which I'm sure each of your departments do, which helps. But social media, I think, really has helped from a recruitment standpoint. And I've even seen departments where they walk through the entire process of what it's going to look like when you walk through the door and where to go. And we also use videos that show the life of a firefighter. So I think those are important to also provide that glimpse of what a day is like, even though they ask those questions, but those videos are important. But yeah, I think it truly helps a lot with the recruitment process for departments.
So, I mean, I mentioned about everybody has a phone or a smartphone with a phone. So I don't think social media actually is the only issue that we have with people with phones. Like other people, and somebody sent me a video of, it was, I believe, a fire chief somewhere in the United States was not even, I don't believe they were even on duty and was in an argument with somebody, and somebody else actually took the video, watched the person take the video. I mean, watched what was transpiring and took the video and then posted it on their social media platform. And it got back to the department of what was going on. So and we always talk about it. I mean, we always say everybody has a phone, everybody has a camera, watch what you're doing 24/7. But how do you instill like I'm sure we've all been out to a restaurant or even like amusement park or something, and you see people walking around with fire department t-shirts on. And sometimes I don't know, sometimes what they're doing is probably not the best light. Now, whether they work for that fire department or not, the person that might be watching what they're doing has no really insight if that individual really works for that fire department or if someone gave them that t-shirt or if they bought the t-shirt or such. So how do we instill in people that when you're wearing that fire department t-shirt, I mean, we always say you're on duty 24/7, right? But as we know, a lot of people like to wear fire department t-shirts off duty, whether they work in that department or that somebody gave them that fire department t-shirt. So how do we instill in our members the importance of this, of the when you're wearing that t-shirt representing the department? So does anyone have like I know there's a few departments that actually have a policy where you can't wear, especially the duty shirts off duty because of this. So does anyone have any intake on that?
Yeah, Chief, we actually have a policy. It's actually referenced in our eating out policy that talks about not wearing your department, anything that identifies you as a Fremont firefighter while eating out off duty. It doesn't refer to whether you're drinking or not, but I think the basic understanding should be, and our policy doesn't say this, but it should be that anytime you're wearing your uniform, you're a reflection of your department. And so you should not be doing anything off duty in your uniform that you wouldn't be doing on duty in your uniform. And if you are handing out t-shirts, whether they're duty or just to have the name or likeness of your department, if you're handing those out to your friends, you need to let them know that they also carry this responsibility. Because unfortunately, or fortunately, the community gives us a lot of trust that's unearned. And we can break that trust by, passing our shirts out or wearing our shirts in a way that's irresponsible, by doing something that, the public doesn't think we should be doing.
Chief Clemens or Laura, you have anything to add?
I agree with what Chief said. I mean, you're representing yourself in your department. So we just need to be making smart choices out there. And if you're doubting what you're doing, you probably shouldn't be doing it. If you're wearing a department uniform or t-shirt out.
Well, I definitely think that any department uniform that you're wearing in public, I do believe that it is a good marketing tool and recruitment tool for your organization. But again, I think even at the recruit level, we should be talking about, educating our members on off-duty, on-duty type, behavior so that they understand who and what they represent when in department uniform. So again, it's a good marketing tool. However, if not, if our behavior is not reflecting our mission, vision, and values, then it's counterproductive in allowing members to wear uniforms. And then Chief Baker, you mentioned that family members and friends even having, department t-shirts. How do you manage that? That's something that's an even further conversation.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one, Chief Clemens. I know previously when I would do some assessment centers, that would be what they'd give you as a department t-shirt, and more agencies have now went away from that. And it's probably because I'm just speculating here, are wearing them. I mean, I saw a guy at the gym one day that had a Oakland Fire Department t-shirt on. And I said, "Oh, you work for Oakland?" When I knew damn well he didn't, right? And he proceeded to tell me, yeah, he worked for Oakland. And I carried on the conversation. I'm like, "Oh, really? Where? What station? Whereabouts? What?" He said a station. I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting," because that's Battalion 4, and I was Battalion 4, and I don't recall ever seeing you there, kind of thing. And he still didn't catch on, right? It's like finally about a minute and a half after the conversation started, he goes, "Oh, well, I was in the recruit school. I was a recruit. I'm like, "Okay, are you a recruit now?" He's like, "Well, no." And I'm like, "So you didn't pass recruit school," kind of thing, right? But you see that. You see people that are walking around and they don't think that, someone's going to say, "Oh, you work for Oakland Fire, or you work for, Fremont, you work for Des Moines, you work for Forest Park." And they don't, and they're going to say yes. And the general population would not know that, right? I mean, I'm sure other people in that gym saw him with that shirt on and like, "Oh, wow, you work for Oakland?" And he said the same thing he said to me, yes. And it was his behavior inappropriate at the gym. I don't know. After I had my conversation with him, I kind of felt sorry for him and walked away. But it's that people like, what's it called, imposter syndrome, where they're going to walk around with the shirt and act like they work there and they really don't work there. So that's another problem, I think, with the actual duty department t-shirt. So I think we've all been in the fire department probably way 20 years or plus. So when we first came in, there was not social media, right? Social media was not invented. So how did the message get out before social media? I mean, it seems like before 2016 with TikTok, and I think TikTok just has blown up I don't know, I could be totally wrong, in the last few years. And so but I don't think it was really a problem before TikTok of people posting videos and such. I think TikTok just gave the individuals the opportunity to post these videos and get their message or whatever they want to do, say the day in the life, or, I'm a firefighter or whatever. So that's why I said the good, the bad, and the ugly. Do we think that TikTok, and this is just your own personal opinion, TikTok has made the social media and the fire service worse or better? Anyone?
Chief, I hate to say it, I don't TikTok, so I don't
Okay.
know. But I can say like social media in general, I mean, I think it's both. Like it's done a lot of great things. I mean, I know that, I'm an age myself, right? Like if I look at Facebook or Instagram and I can see like, firefighter videos, and I can see like, the point they're trying to make, or like this workout program or whatever it is, like it's educational. But it all depends on what content you're looking at. The problem, the kind of ugly part is that you can have people pretending to be firefighters, like we just talked about, posting this stuff. You can have people posting things that then say something that is absolutely inaccurate, and it's out there with no sort of filter. And then the comments that come are totally wrong also. And so that I think is the ugly part of it. And I don't know if that happens on TikTok, but that's the ugly part of social media, is when there's misinformation being spread and it's just perpetuated, and people read it and they don't vet it, or they don't even have the means to vet it, and so that becomes their reality, and then it's all this bad information that's out there. So it's both. It's great. It's great for recruitment, it's great for outreach, it's great for education, and it's a huge vessel for misinformation.
Laura or Chief Clemens?
I agree with what she said, but I mean, I didn't use TikTok either. And, early on in our careers, and of course, aging ourselves a little bit, but I think probably some of the things that were said, whether good or bad or, indifferent, you don't see the consequences as we do now because we're so social media heavy. And so I think it's always important, what's the goal? What are we trying to accomplish? Like Chief Clemens said, related to the mission, our values, and the vision. Is it for community awareness, recruitment? Are we using it to alert to some type of emergency situation? But yeah, I mean, I didn't use TikTok, and so I don't know whether it's good or bad. I think there's some good to it, but yeah.
And both of you just made a good point about the what are they trying to accomplish with the videos? So some of the people that are on there, it is like, what are you trying to accomplish? I mean, like when I was scrolling through it, I saw like somebody saying, a firefighter saying, I'm scheduling my OT tomorrow so I can make all this money. And it's like, I mean, we all pretty much could agree that the economy isn't the best it's been, and people are getting laid off, and price of everything's going up. And here you got this guy on, social media saying, I'm going to schedule an overtime so, I can make money and, make more money to go on a trip or whatever he said. So I think that's the bad part of it. I think that, and this is just my opinion, I think that with TikTok, you post the videos, I think they go up right away. And it just seems like, from what I've seen on TikTok, it is educational, but I don't see that much. I don't see that many departments on TikTok. There's a few. I see more departments on Instagram and Facebook posting the stuff. So,
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know,
agree.
just okay, just data driven, right? So how many people are using TikTok? Probably more than a billion, I'm assuming. More than
yeah,
a billion. And I think you mentioned Chief Baker when you started this dialogue, that who's mostly using it? Gen Z, millennials, right?
younger population,
Who's entering the fire department?
the younger
Gen Z,
generation,
millennials, right?
Gen.
So again, it can have its value, It, for me, I think it offers not only a unique but creative ways to uh market and represent your department. It just can. And it has diverse opportunities to market your organization, right?
Yeah.
So I do think it have a farther reach. I do think it has a farther reach than the other social media platforms. Facebook, LinkedIn is more professional, because of the Gen Z and millennials. However, again, it goes back to, if we're talking about organizations, it goes back to enlightening, educating, and then talking about your mission, vision, and values, which I'll continue to repeat, so that they understand, although TikTok has its value, what are the repercussions if not utilized appropriately?
Yeah, I agree with that at 100%. So like I mentioned, there's good and bad. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the good part of social media, especially, is some of them, like you mentioned, LinkedIn. I mean, it connects people. It like facilitates communication. It provides access to to information and educational resources. It was huge in 2020 when we had some issues with. It carries risks though as well, but I think it educates people on what's going on, like social awareness of issues.
Yeah.
The bad part of it is a lot of people believe everything they read on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Addiction. I mean, how many people spend hours a day probably on TikTok, Facebook, all of them? Privacy concerns, we mentioned that a little bit, but I mean, think about like if, and even before social media, you had people that had phones, right? The cell phones with cameras have been out for a while.
Right.
Or they had disposable cameras or whatever, and they were taking pictures of a burned down house, or the house was on fire and you got a crew stand out there with thumbs up, or big smiles hugging each other, because it's like a trophy photo, so to speak. Look what we did this. Yet, does that put the best light on your department when someone's house just was on fire and possibly they lost all their possessions in their house, and you have a crew out there like with thumbs up, whole, oh, look what we just did. We put this fire out kind of thing. So I think even before social media, we had some issues with members posting things, pictures, just pictures, of things like, oh, look what we did kind of thing.
Yeah, Chief, that's where you have to make sure that you're making a comment so that it's not misinterpreted, right?
Yeah.
Because you could have, like, your crews could have made a fantastic stop and they're celebrating the fact that, that they had a rescue or that this fire didn't extend beyond. And so it looks like a celebratory photo. And without the context, it could be misinterpreted, right? Like, oh, these guys are super happy that my house just burned down. Like that's not the intent of the photo, right?
Yes,
So
exactly.
it's all in the context, and it's that sort of policy or that oversight to what's being posted so that you can ensure that that content is accurate or what you're showing is not invading on someone's privacy or any of those things.
Yeah. Does any department? Oh, go ahead, Chief.
I was just gonna say, here in Forest Park, we used to have one of our members that that monitored our social media outlets, and also not just monitored it, but what's the word I'm looking for? Posted,
Yeah.
any important or relevant information, or videos, training videos, and things of that nature. So through the chain of command, it was just made, a request was just made to my office. Can we have that single point of contact to post that good marketing material from the department to our social media outlets. Now, I'm a proponent of that because it's going through point of contact, and that person gets to vet what's posted it to social media. So I think it's a good thing.
No, and I agree with you. As long as you have someone that's looking at what's going to be posted, like
Correct.
are you talking about like Facebook or something like that,
Right.
where you're posting, okay, there was a fire and we made this stop, or there was a fire and we kept it to one building. I know I've seen where I used to work there, who I don't know who runs their social media, but whoever's doing it is doing a fantastic job. They're showing, the fires, and oh, we made this great stop here, and because we were able to make this stop, we saved these houses and such. And
Right.
it's a positive. It's not like, a crew standing out there with thumbs up, look what we did kind of thing. So I think Chief Mosteen and Chief Clemens, you made a really good point. The point is is what's the comment, what's the intent of the post. And as long as you have like a social media person or your PIO or somebody that's running it, then I think it's so beneficial for the department. I think the issues that departments run into is when you have individuals posting things with like I just mentioned with the stand outside with the the thumbs up or whatever, where if a social media or your social media person posted it, it would probably be in a better light, like Chief Mosey said, that we made this stop from we saved these properties, we did this and this, as opposed to just a crew, someone posting it on social media.
The other thing that's tough, and this is something that like news media has dealt with for a really long time, is that people want things immediately. Like they want to see it
Mhm.
immediately. And everyone's in a race to put the information out as
Yep.
fast as possible. And it's really hard to do that and vet it, right? You want to make sure that what you're putting out is accurate and it's informative. But the next person is just trying to put it out as fast as possible. And so there's a challenge with all of us in our departments, our cities, in getting timely information out in a way that's accurate.
That's a good point, Chief Mosey. It is. I mean, and that's why I think like a social media policy needs to like reiterate the fact that, if you're at a scene, you want somebody that's gonna be savvy in social media to post something that when you're at a scene of a fire. Um,
Absolutely.
you don't want just
And know that like apps like Citizen app or that have immediate like that have the ability to post immediately, you're never going to be able to get the information out as fast as they are, but an appropriate response with accurate information can counteract all that other stuff if you have somebody who's diligent about doing it.
exactly. And I think, Chief, we could go back to the fact that we were both at a fire. And within 20 minutes, it was all over the place of what was occurring. And I think you probably know what fire I'm occurring to. And it was just all over social media. And then the relatives, the family members were showing up there trying to figure out what was going on at that fire. And you're right, it's a rush for information. I mean, the news, we all know the news looks at looks at social media. I mean, it's no mystery that the news is looking at department social media pages to know what's going on. I doubt they look at individuals because unless they really know that individual well, but they're looking at the department's social media page to see what's going on. But if you just have individuals there posting about this fire, and it got to the media very quickly, as we know, and it's the misinformation that was out there as well. So I agree with you. It's you sometimes you can't control what's going out because people are there seeing it too. You could excuse me, you could have like a major fire going on, like let's say a wildland fire, and people are posting and not even firefighters. This is like your general population because we all have, videos on our phone with the camera. They're taking videos of these fires and they're posting on their social media as well. And so I think you're right, Chief Mosdeen, is like to try to get ahead of it. And I want to say like to kind of be a buffer of what gets out and what doesn't get out because the misinformation is so wrong. I mean, we could go to the last fires in LA, all the misinformation that was out there that people were putting out there on social media. So I think that's another aspect of the really bad part of it is the misinformation that's put on departments after they have a major incident by
I
individuals.
think I think it's also important that a department can have their official page send out information enough that people follow it, whether it's Twitter or X or whatever, or on Facebook. If you're sending out information enough that your community knows that that's the official source, that hopefully when a wildland fire or a massive incident happens, they tune into that one for their news because more and more people are turning to social media for news. So they turn into that official site with a recognition that it's official and not just anybody else who's posting. But that just speaks to needing to have a social media presence.
Yeah. Chief, you just made a good point because not everyone unfortunately has access to social media. I mean, we still have communities that don't have individuals that have internet access and stuff. So I mean, on that aspect, when I said the good, the bad, the ugly, that could be a bad aspect actually, where you have a large population of a city that does not have access to social media. I know like if there's a large scale evacuation or something and they're putting it out as, we need to evacuate this area, and there's individuals that unfortunately do not have access to social media due to the internet issues. Laura or Chief Clemens, you have anything to add? Okay.
I don't have
Some-
anything else to add.
Okay.
Yeah, Chief Baker, you bring up another good point. Like, I mean, yes, the people who don't have internet access, but also in some of these large scale fires, you see like power outages, internet outages. And if people are reliant on that as their news source, what's the backup plan? Like with any technology, the more we become accustomed to using it, the more dependent on it we get. And sometimes, it's like crews who can't respond if they don't get a notification on their tablet, where we're used to scratching the address down on a piece of paper because we had to, right? So it's just that becoming over reliant on technology, and social media is just another technology. We have to make sure that we do train our new people. Like, what happens if it's not available? What do you do and where do you go?
That's an excellent point, Chief Mosey, and you're right. It's like if the power and everything goes out, it doesn't matter if you have access to the internet or not, unless your device is fully charged, you're probably not going to be able to get onto it. I think another bad aspect though of social media, and that it doesn't really just pertain to the fire service, is the addiction. Like I mentioned, people are on it all day and they spend numerous hours on it. And then you get the cyberbullying of individuals on social media. I mean, so that's like, I think that a lot of the good, just in general, of social media kind of outweighs the bad in certain aspects, but like, and it's just not the fire service that are having issues with social media. I'm probably guessing, right? I mentioned earlier the one about the airport worker showing the day in the life of what an airport worker at the beauty store in the airport looked like. I mean, you look at I want to mention, okay, I saw one today where it was some lady was at some airport and couldn't get on the plane, and she started pretty much attacking the agents. Someone was videoing it. It wasn't the company videoing it or whatever. And then the comments about the company, the airline company, I don't think all these people were at this airport. I mean, and it's like, so you're just kind of seeing one aspect of that video. I mean, obviously the lady was having some kind of mental issues, but you're only seeing one aspect of it. And so then you got people saying, I'm never going to fly on that airline again if that's the way they treat people. But none of us really know what happened unless we were at that airport when it happened. So I think that's another aspect of like, we just take that information, and we talked about misinformation. We take that information and some of us just have like blinders on, so to speak, and whatever somebody's saying about something, we're going to believe that, oh, this is what happened. And that's the way those airport employees treated her. And I think the same thing could be said to like when we have individuals posting such on Facebook and TikTok and everything. And Heather, you made a good point about Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, which I totally forgot even existed. Just people like making comments about stuff. Like, so it's interesting that we're in this, like we're having a discussion about social media when it's been around for, 21, 23 years, and we're still having issues with it. But it's kind of interesting when I was, thought of this topic and did some research on it, the major issue that everybody was having, and not just the fire service, was TikTok videos. And it's just like, I mean, it's been around what, 9 years now? And I don't know if it's just the access that can you make, I don't even know how TikTok works. I don't know how you make a video. So I don't know if it's just like the access is so easy to post the video, or people just, I know we have content creators, so I know they get paid for it. So is it just people posting things that think they're going to get paid, get these likes like Chief Mosey mentioned, or what? And we can't get inside people's heads, I know that. But what do you think? Why are people making these videos of the day in the life of a firefighter, and it's not all positive what they're saying? Chief Clemens? Chief Mosting, you have anything to say?
I
No.
think it's all clickbait. Like different people have different intentions, so I can't speak to anyone's intentions. But I think it's for that dopamine hit of people following, or it's to create this narrative or get these followers so that then you get it like ads or endorsements or whatever. Each person probably has their own reason for doing it, but it's to get the clicks. It's for
Yeah, I think it's to get the clicks, and then I don't know if it's, and you're right, it's to get the clicks, and then I just said we can't get in people's minds, but I don't know if it's like to think that, look, I'm a firefighter and this is what I do, yet some of the things you're saying are not like in the best light. Like, oh no, not another medical call. We have to get up. Well, I think when you took the oath to be a firefighter, we took an oath to protect and serve. And I don't think we took the oath to protect and serve only when it's 70 degrees outside and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I think we take the oath. I know we took the oath to, protect and to serve. And we know the majority of fire departments in the United States work 24, 48 hours on. So that protect and serve should be at any time of the day or night. And to post something on, oh no, not another, medical call at 3 a.m. kind of thing. So I think that's where the negativity comes in. And it makes me think of, why would someone think that it's okay to post that on TikTok? I mean, saying that, hey, oh, I got to go on another call. Well, if the general population sees that, especially people now that are getting laid off, a lot of people are going to be like, I'd love to be able to go on a call at 3 o'clock in the morning and get paid. So I
Yeah,
think,
Chief, I hope that department, whoever posted that they're taking Chief Clemens' advice and, enlightening and educating their members about how that looks and what they should and shouldn't be saying, because that's not okay.
yeah, it's just from what I mean, like I said, I was just on there for a whole different purpose, not looking for
Yes.
fire department stuff. Go ahead, Chief Clemens.
I was gonna say, yeah, so I'm in agreement. Again, I mentioned in the beginning that when we use social media, when we don't use it in the right way, it can compromise public trust and their perception of what we do in a 24-hour period. Historically, what has been said about fire service and firefighters? Oh, all you do is sleep. You're not busy enough. So we compromise that integrity by posting TikTok videos, be it responding to calls, be it in uniform, goofing off in the stations, instead of showing the genuine and hard work that we do. Number one, upholding the city's mission, vision, and values, and the community that trusts us to perform and respond professionally, serving them with the utmost respect. So utilizing any social media platforms in a negative way, be it TikTok, be it Facebook, be it LinkedIn or any other social media platform, in a way that is distasteful to the community, can harm the fire service organization as a whole.
Chief Clemens, you just made a really good point about and we all know that when a policy or a SOP or SOG is written, there's a little bit of leeway in the SOG because it's a guideline as opposed to a strict policy. And when you just said about posting things that are showing a good light, like Heather, I know all three of you are involved with girls' camps. So like posting something on there about the fire girls camps, like, hey, we're out here showing these girls, or these young ladies, what a firefighter does, the aspects of fire department and such. That's good. That's getting out there. I mean, if people are seeing it, it's like, okay, that's great. But then when you have the negative aspects of it, that's where the bad light comes in. And so I guess I don't want to say we're walking a fine line, because we really shouldn't be walking a fine line. I don't know why anyone would think it's okay to post that we're going, doing this, unless it's putting the department in a good light. And so I guess that's the hardest part of what I can't understand is, and like I said numerous times, you can't get into somebody's head, but why do individuals think that it's okay to do some of this stuff with no repercussions? It's like, we serve the public. We took an oath, no matter what department you work in, to serve and protect. And so, and I think we all have mission statements and firefighter code of ethics that say we're going to treat everyone with fairness, dignity, and respect. And when we're making comments about the general population of the communities that we serve, we're not doing that. So I guess what I'm having the hardest part understanding is, why do some people, firefighters, it seems, and other the entities, not just the fire department, I guess I just can't understand why they think that's okay to do that. Do they think just to get the like button, like Chief Mosdeen said, just to get, the views to become a content creator maybe on their off days or what have it be? It just boggles my mind to think that individuals think it's okay to do some of this stuff. Does anyone have anything to comment on that? Captain Lyons?
Yeah, I mean, well, with what Chief said, yeah, I mean, it's that dopamine hit, and a lot of people go for likes or for the subscription. So it's hard. And I think sometimes you just don't see in the end how that influences not only themselves in the department, but how the public also will now view us. And it just sends a mixed message with what you may not want to be sending, although you think it's a good thing at the time. So it's really hard because we live in the world of social media. That's how a lot of the Gen Zs communicate, and it's social media. And it has, as we've talked about, it's a great platform, but sometimes it's just so important to understand that it can just have those repercussions that aren't so good in the midst of all of that.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Laura. Additionally, it, as much good as it is in today's climate, one thing that I didn't hear, and we didn't kind of, I didn't mention, and I didn't hear, is that it took away when we say family, and I'm talking about, in the fire department family, sitting together, having great dialogue, communication, it kind of put a boundary with that in the fire service. Because even at the kitchen table, one can be sitting across from one another and sending a meme.
Yes, agreed. Yeah,
So,
I think
again,
yeah.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yes.
I think that all of us have been in the fire service long enough to be at the table at a time where there were no cell phones at the table, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
they weren't even there. It wasn't even an option. I remember being at the table when somebody first brought a phone, and everyone was like, "What are you doing? There's no phones at the table." So yeah, just that whole transition. But some of these kids, they don't know it any other way. I mean,
You're
we're
right.
talking about millennials and Gen Zs, but like my kids are Gen Alpha, and they're on that phone all the time. Like, I mean, it is real. My son is the youngest. He's got an iPad, and at any given hour, it seems, any hour that he's awake, he can call and find one of his friends who's also on that device. So this is not going away.
Yeah, no, it's
and
not going away.
And we have to figure out sort of how to sort of bring that family back with the acknowledgement that it's not going to go away. But
Yeah.
that's a great point, Chief Clemens. You're totally right.
Chief Clemens, that was a really good point, and Chief Mosdeen, you as well. I mean, I think if we're like with the phones at the table and sending the memes and such, it's like people are on their phones. They're not communicating with each other, or they're sending the memes across the table, or they're sending a text across the table. So you're right. So I mean, I think it's an issue that we're not going to solve sitting here talking about it, but I mean, hopefully we brought to light to some people. So does anyone just real quick have in their social media policy that they're not to post? It's because I keep mentioning TikTok. That's the one that seems to get the people in the most trouble now. that they can't post in uniform or in uniform shirts or in the fire station while on duty?
Yeah, City of Forest Park definitely have a policy. Matter of fact, not just the fire department, but the city overall have a social media and website policy.
Okay.
And most certainly in our policy, it states that some of the things that we shouldn't be doing while on duty, while in uniform, and i.e. Using the city's computer to do it.
Oh, that's
So
good.
that's another
I didn't even think of that.
no. It says here, contains city official part for a City of Forest Park branding or logos or or events or programs managed by the city or i.e. anything in addition.
And that's really good that you have that, because when like when I said, when I was on TikTok, it was like there was so many individuals on there posting things that were in uniform, that were in fire stations. I've mentioned it a few times now. A lot of them would cover up the department name that they worked for, but some of them weren't savvy enough that they're standing there and you could see the apparatus in the background, so you could still tell what department they work for. So it makes you wonder, if they don't want their uniform showed and such, is there actually a policy that states they're not supposed to be doing it? Because why would you be covering up your name if you can do it on duty? And I mean, we've beat the horse dead about the good things that it does do. And I think the good and the bad right now are kind of outweighing each other. The good is, I mean, it brings the light to the general population of what we do. I mean, you could post on there, like I said, recruitments. We went to this fire, we saved this. We're having this girls' camp this weekend. So I think the good does kind of outweigh the bad. I mean, recruitment, you put it on there. I mean, people start sharing it, and you're going to get like people from other states wanting to come to your fire department because they see where you're recruiting and such. But I think the bad is that there's just not enough hours in the day for somebody to be going through TikTok and seeing who's on it and seeing what their people are posting from your own agency, which is probably the bad part of that. People think it's okay to sometimes post these things. We're about out of time. So does anyone have anything else they'd like to add?
I would just like to say in closing, again, I believe social media has done outstanding work and provided a platform so that not only organizations can market their departments and organizations. It has done tremendous work. It has made tremendous stride, and I think it's only going to improve as we continue to live out in this century. However, we just need to, again, enlighten, educate our members, especially in any organization, and outline the good and the bad, particularly when you're on duty, and more so off duty.
I think that's a good point. Off duty as well. Is it really important? I think some people lose the concept of the behavior off duty also reflects the department that you work for, because a lot of people know where you work and such. So thanks for sharing that, Chief Clements. So does anyone have anything to add? So thank you to each guest for being part of the radio show. Thank you to Fire Engineering again. Thanks to all the listeners and members of Women in Fire. And since we talk about social media, remember to follow us on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, and to check out our website at womeninfire.org. And that our international conference will be next September in the city of Austin. And there will be a leadership conference in April in Indianapolis. So check out our website, and they have the exact dates and everything about that. So again, thank you to my guests. I appreciate you, and good night.